The stock market crash you're terrified of? Not what's actually going to wreck your retirement. Everything you've heard about that is backwards. Researchers at Boston College ranked the real risks retirees face against what retirees say scares them most. And a market crash didn't even come in second. Third place. The actual number one risk isn't a crash at all. It's just living. Outlasting your own money through completely ordinary time. No crash required, no headline, nothing dramatic. So if it's not the market that gets most people, what actually does? Honestly, for most people, nothing does. A Morningstar study found the average retiree withdraws only about 2.1% of their savings a year, way under the 4% that's considered safe. Most people are on pace to die with the bulk of it still sitting there, untouched. There's actually a name for this. Researchers call it FORO, fear of running out, and it's strong enough to mess with people sitting on seven figures. There's a story about a woman worth close to $2 million who was still reusing the same tea bag 3 times a day. Not because she had to, obviously. Some part of her brain just never got the memo that the danger had passed. Okay, quick pause, because I don't want this turning into relax, go spend whatever. If I told you it's all just anxiety, I'd be skipping the part that's genuinely dangerous. Only 14% of retirees actually have a withdrawal plan. Only 29% of people approaching retirement have organized anything close to one. And retirees over 60 lost something like $7.7 billion to scams last year. Average loss around $38,500. Investment scams alone eating up nearly half of that. One of the fastest growing versions right now doesn't even target the retiree directly. It targets their fear for someone else. A call that sounds like a grandkid in trouble, needing bail money right now, no time to call anyone and check. It works because it hijacks the one instinct that overrides financial caution instantly. The actual fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Any urgent request like that gets a call back to a number you already had saved, before a dollar moves, every time, no exceptions. So really, there's 2 totally different endings hiding under the exact same fear. A huge number of people needlessly terrified of money they'll never come close to spending, and a smaller number, one missing plan or one phone call away from something a lot worse. There's a generational piece here too that almost nobody brings up. In 1980, about 38% of private sector workers had a pension, a check for life, guaranteed, no math required. By 2020, that was down to 15%. Their dad never had to do this math himself. This generation got handed the job with 0 training and nobody to call when the number feels wrong. You might be thinking, okay, but that underspending thing, that's a rich person problem, right? Not really. A Texas Tech study found households with over $650,000 saved could safely spend 38 to 54% more a year. But even households with just $100,000 to $200,000 could safely spend 17 to 25% more than they actually do. This shows up at every level, not just the top. Here's why the fear doesn't fade even when the math says it should. It's not about how much money there is, it's about where it's coming from. I know a guy whose dad will happily take his wife to dinner the week Social Security lands, but won't touch the brokerage account for that exact same dinner, even though it's sitting there earning way more than he'll ever spend. Same guy, same $50. Retirees spend something like 80% of guaranteed income, Social Security, a pension, pretty freely. But that same money sitting in an investment account, people spend less than half of what they could safely pull out. Same dollar, same person, same math, just feels completely different. Pulling money from an account you built yourself versus a check that just shows up. There's a term for it, loss aversion or the endowment effect, but honestly, you don't need the vocabulary if you've ever felt weird spending your own money versus a bonus that just landed in your account. So let's actually put a number on what this fear costs, because it's bigger than it sounds. Researchers have actually mapped the shape of this. Retirement spending tends to look like a smirk, high early, dropping through the middle years, then ticking up slightly at the very end. You'd think that late uptick is just healthcare costs finally catching up, and it partly is. But here's the part that surprised the researcher who found it. For most people, that increase gets quietly offset by falling spending on travel and hobbies. The body slows down before the bank account ever does. Take a retiree with $800,000 saved. Safe withdrawal rate puts them around $32,000 a year, but withdrawing like the average retiree, closer to 2.1%, that's only $16,800, a gap of over $15,000 a year, every year, for 25 years of retirement. Run that out, and it's close to $380,000 of life this person could have safely spent. On grandkids, on travel, on anything, just sitting there because of a risk that almost never actually happens. None of this means stop being careful, obviously. It just means the caution most people default to isn't protecting them from the risk they think it is. So 3 things to actually do with this. 1, if you don't have a real withdrawal number, that's the highest leverage fix here, period, especially since fewer than a third of pre-retirees even have one. 2, treat any urgent money request you didn't start, especially anything with the word investment attached, with real suspicion. That's where almost half of elder fraud comes from. 3, if you're one of the many people quietly underspending out of fear, pick one specific thing this year and actually spend the money on it, on purpose, and notice how it feels. So here's the real question, and it's not, will I have enough? The research already answered that one for most people. It's this: when's the last time you spent money from your own investments? Not a paycheck, not Social Security, and did it feel different? If yes, sit with that, because it might be costing you a lot more than you think.